Hi, I'm Anne Marie from Teacher to Teacher Help. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how we can create a conventions consciousness to help our students become more consistent at using proper grammar and language conventions in their daily writing. As important as it is to teach our students how to use proper grammar and conventions, I think it's just as important to teach them to have a conventions consciousness. And what I mean by that is that they understand the importance of using proper conventions in their writing so that they can effectively communicate to their readers. And I think that there are a number of things that we can do to help our students, number one, see the importance, but also to live that throughout their, just throughout our writing workshop and throughout the day. Okay, so let me share with you some of these. The first, I believe we need to have high expectations. I have often heard people say, well, once I start using a writing workshop, it's just more important for kids to get their ideas down and spelling and grammar don't matter. And that actually isn't the message that we want to send. We don't want to send the message that only ideas matter, that grammar and conventions don't matter. Instead, we want them to know that when you're trying to get your ideas down, that it's hard. Our brains are concentrating on one thing at a time. And if we're focusing on the ideas, it might be hard for us to get all of the spelling correct. And it's okay for a time, to focus on those ideas. But we also want to go back and reread our writing and make sure that we catch everything that we have been learning. And maybe we just haven't developed automaticity with it yet. So it's important for us to do some noticing and naming. And I've shared in some other videos in this playlist how we can use mentor text to help students notice and name, but actually noticing and naming for our students this idea of having a conventions consciousness and noticing and naming places in their own writing that they're using these skills. So we want them to see that transfer. I often say that I don't think that it's a teaching problem, that we're not teaching grammar and conventions, but it's an automaticity problem. Students are being exposed to grammar and conventions, but they're not using them. So it's a use and an automaticity problem. So one thing that we can do is hold students accountable for skills that they've mastered or at least have been practicing during the drafting process. So for example, if they already know that I should be capitalized when it's all by itself, or they already know that proper nouns should be capitalized, or that there should be ending punctuation, that's something that they should be drafting with. So it is okay to have those high expectations and say, wait a minute, you know that there's something that goes at the end of the sentence, fix that right now. So I like to use this terminology of tidy as we go. And I first started using that when I started thinking about the hierarchy of writing skills. When you think about writing a piece of narrative or information or opinion, the most important thing is, after we get those ideas, that we structure our writing. So we organize and structure our writing. And I say that's kind of like digging the foundation and building the frame of a house. You focus on structure first. Once you have the structure, when you're building a house, you get to decorate your house. So you have the whole house built. Now you can go inside and start decorating. Well, in writing, what that looks like is adding details. So structure, and then elaborating on our writing by adding details. After we build our house, we decorate our house, we want to have a housewarming party and invite company over. So we tidy up our house. In the same way, when we're getting writing ready to share with an audience, we want to tidy it up. But when we think about language conventions, grammar and language conventions, I also want to teach kids that they can tidy as they go. So we don't just do our dishes when company's coming. We don't just pick up the clothes on the floor when company's coming. We also do some tidying throughout the week. And in the same way, we want our students to learn that they can tidy as they go, even during the drafting process. What will they tidy? Well, the things that they already know how to do. If it's something that they already know how to do, they're not going to be able to tidy as they go. So it's important for us to identify what do they have a good handle on? And once we notice what those are, let's hold students accountable, have high expectations for that, even in the drafting process. And then that way we can just focus editing on the things that maybe they don't have automaticity over yet. I put together another video on the mid-workshop 1-minute editing check. So I think this is a great way to help students develop that conventions consciousness also. I'm not going to go into that in this video, so if you want to check that out, I'll link it in the description below. Another technique that you can use, and I've created another video all about this, is the personal editing checklist. So a personal editing checklist is an idea that I got from Nancy Atwell a number of years ago. She said our checklist shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all. Some students are able to edit for certain skills, while other students are still hung up on skills that are maybe less complex. And so one thing that she shares is differentiating our editing checklists for our students. So that means they're going to be assessment-based. If that's something that you're interested in, you can check out, I'll put in the link below, a link to the video where I describe this in more detail. So just in summary, I think that it's important, just as important to have conventions consciousness teaching in our grammar lessons as it is to do the specific skills. And hopefully these give you a number of strategies, a number of ways that you can develop this consciousness within your students.